Now, before we keep moving forward, I would just like to point out how, because we're working with a vector in average velocity, anything that we do to a vector by a scalar, either that may be a multiplication or a division, is always going to give us a scalar back. So the average velocity will be a vector, because a vector divided by a scalar times a scalar will always give us a vector. And here for speed, this is scalar divided by a scalar gives us a scalar as well. So average speed is a scalar. So now I'm going to work some examples, so hopefully it helps you out to understand a little bit further what's going on. So let's say that you are at your house. So let's leave this finishes right there. So let's say you're at your house and you're studying and you're trying to do homework and learn about physics. Woohoo, so exciting, right? But then there's a Starbucks right around the corner, and you want to go to Starbucks because a lot of people like Starbucks, so that's why I chose it. Starbucks. However, in order to get there, you have to go around the block. Let's say you are someone lucky who lives right around the block from Starbucks. So you have to go around here, right? You have to go from your house to the corner, cross the street maybe, and then move to Starbucks, right? Let's say this distance right here from your house to the corner is 300 meters. And from there to Starbucks, it's 400 meters. And now the problem will ask you to give them the average velocity and the average speed that it took a person. And the time that it took this person to walk to Starbucks was 5 minutes. Okay? Alright, so now, usually, we're going to convert this minutes into seconds, because the majority of the problems in physics are always in meters per second. So in order to do that, we are going to say 1 minute has 60 seconds. Minutes cancel out. And now 5 times 60 is 300 seconds. Now, what we're going to say is, okay, we have our time elapsed that it took from point A to B. Now, in order to find our average velocity and our average speed, we have to use these formulas that we talked about earlier. So let me switch colors again. So now let's start with average velocity. So remember, average velocity is V with the little line on top, is x final minus x initial over t final minus t initial. Now our x final, it's Starbucks, right? We know that. And our x initial is somewhere in our home. So what's the distance that we traveled from final to initial to final? Well, in this case, we're going to have to do the hypotenuse. This is a special triangle, 3, 4, 5 triangles. So this distance is going to be 500 meters. If you don't know special triangles, I would suggest you either you request a video to be made about special triangles or just go online. But I'm not going to explain it here. I'm just going to say this is a 3, 4, 5 triangle, so this is 500 meters. So now our total displacement is 500 meters over a period of 300 seconds. And conveniently, zeros cancel out. So our velocity, average velocity that it took us to get from our house to Starbucks is 5/3 meters per second. Now let's do average speed. Now that's the total distance traveled. So remember from our previous video, that will be 300 plus 400. 300 meters plus 400 meters over time elapsed, which would be 300 seconds. So this turns out to be 700 meters over 300 seconds. Zeros cancel out again. This worked out nicely. And this problem ends up being 7 over 3 meters per second. Now, notice that they are different. They're not the same. Many times, again, like in our previous video, the average speed and the average velocity will end up being the same, but many times, the majority of the times, it will not be the same. So I hope this video was helpful. And before I go, I'll give you one last sample. So your car, when you're driving and you have just either if you're going backwards or forward, so you may be going forward, or you may be going backwards with your car. I'm just going to draw a box, bear with me. So let's say this is the positive, this is the negative. So if you're going forward, it just tells you you're going from 0. Let's just say your car can only go to 100 miles per hour. mph. So now, this just tells you a scalar. So your speedometer only tells you a scalar because either if you're going forward or backwards, it only tells you a positive number. So that's a scalar. So your speedometer, again, that's why it's called speedometer, it tells you your speed. It doesn't tell you your velocity because it doesn't tell you direction. It's only a scalar and not a vector. I hope this video was helpful. If you guys have any questions, suggestions, put them down in the comments. Remember to like us on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube. Good luck on your studying.